Yep.
I have 4 p.m. Ready, Derek?
Okay, I think so. Let's see what you get done then.
Oh, what do we have? It is 4 p.m. Be live and on TV. Campus Reconfiguration Committee meeting is called to order for today, February 4th, 2026. Roll call. Haley, please.
Carol,
Here.
Schoonover, here. Manny, Harry,
Here.
Kirk,
I think he's gonna be a little late. Oh. Somebody's there.
Kirk,
That's not her. No.
Frank,
Here.
and Williamson.
Here.
Right, we have 5.
We have 5. 4. Agenda's in front of us, 13 point, looking for approval agenda as presented.
No.
Oh,
I will confirm that the meeting is properly noticed.
oh yeah, is it properly been
The
noted?
meeting is properly noticed.
Good. Now we can approve. 13 point. Carol, motion seconded by Perry. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda has been approved. Minutes from the December 17th, 2025 meeting. The packet. Anybody see anything that needs to be corrected, changed? Adjustments? If not, I'll stand them and approve them as presented in our packet. Item number 6, public comment. Nobody within the facility, anybody online for public comment? Hearing, seeing none, we'll move on to reports. Item 7. 7A is the SEH market analysis update.
So that was completed and I shared it with you a couple of months ago. There were some updates that needed to be made, just some typos. So they went through, gathered our input and made those updates. So I have had it added to the packet. That should be the final market analysis report.
Okay. Anyone with questions as far as I have not taken time. Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
Yeah, I studied it a little closer this time. I'm looking at the projections between now and 2035. And I'm trying to understand why the projections look this way. For example, on page 11, households by age, when you look at 75 to 85 age, 75 to 84 age group, there's a huge jump in 2035. And yeah, I know population's getting older, there's a demographic bulge, baby boomers, but you would think there would be indications of that growing over time until then, and it just seems like a very huge jump, but I don't see how that happens. So I wonder if they could explain that.
Brian, are you on that? You were able to answer that question?
I'll look at it. This is a report that our sub-consultant, Place Dynamics, put together. So that may be a question that we need to kick to them.
Yeah, on that same page, the second graph where it shows projected change by stage. Again, if you look, it's just bopping along, plus or minus 100, 200, whatever. Then 1,280 in the 75 to 84 age group. It looks like out of nowhere. I don't understand why it's such a single quick jump like that. So that's my question.
Yeah, you look at the, right before it was, I think it's 72.
Right.
If I read that right.
And I did have a second question also on the report. When they're looking at the rent projection on how much rent's going to be going forward, they were saying that in 2023, the median rent was $786. But you look at this projection out to through 2035, the projection just for 2025, forget 2035, for 2025, the median by their chart there looks like it's around $1,200. And I don't understand how it went up almost $500 per month in just 3 years. So again, I was just wondering about those numbers.
Okay, sorry, what page was that on?
That's page 13.
Okay. Okay. Let me kick those questions over to Michael at Place Dynamics, and I will follow up. I apologize that maybe we should have had it on this call, but let me kick him over to him and just make sure that I'm on the have the right understanding as well. So
repeat that one. Is that what you're saying?
So he said he will reach out to the person who drafted this report
Yeah.
and ask those questions.
Okay.
So what we could do, Brian, if you send me the email answer, I can send it to Steve.
That's fine.
Yeah, we put it, question, or answer the questions in the packet. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
Trish, if you could send that email, that answer out to me also, I'd be curious. That definitely was an outstanding point.
Yep, I can do that.
No one else with comments, questions? Yeah, I'm gonna take more time to look through it. I haven't had time to look at it, didn't even know it was in there.
Do you guys want the individual who wrote the report to come to the meeting next month?
Is that easy to do? I don't know where they're at.
Is that something that they could jump online next month and be a part of the meeting, Brian?
I would imagine he probably could.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have some questions. That'll help with that. If nobody else has questions, we'll plan on having the gentleman, the company that did the report, that put the questions you're asking, at our next meeting, probably via Zoom. Let's bump to 7B, Administrator's Report.
Back up.
Okay.
I got another question.
Yeah.
On page 17, when they're talking about the Wallace Group Center, obviously they want to keep that intact. And they give different reasons why, like weddings or live performances, other programs. Does that mean we're going to keep that as a county-owned property? They think.
Nope.
No, and after Randy gives his report later, there's some updates for that facility. But no, very good question. I would think our long-range plan would be to have no ownership of any of the former campuses.
Absolutely, yes, that's what I was hoping for.
Long range. But no, I think a lot of suggestions, but
That's all I have.
okay. Rod, anything? No? Good, all right. Mr. Frank, anything for now?
No, that's good. Thank you.
You bet. All right, let's move on then to the administrator's report, 7B.
So the redevelopment project with SEH continues. Surveys were created and we've started to share and distribute them. They let us know that thus far, we have received 149 responses. So people are very interested in completing them and sharing their thoughts, which is wonderful. SEH has been spending time talking with developers, attending meetings, and exploring options for what could be done at the campus property. One of the things that they talked with us about was in La Crosse, there was a pocket neighborhood that was developed, and they talked with that developer. They've had meetings with Habitat for Humanity. And then there's been discussions also about the type of houses to build on the campus if that's what ends up happening. There have been a lot of questions about the process and ensuring that we're doing things correctly. I want this committee to know that I understand that before any development can happen at the campus, we really need to be working with the city. It's just really hard to start those discussions with the city when we don't know what the plans are. And so in my mind, we are going to be working with SEH. We're going to be gathering the RFPs, and then we're going to be bringing the city on board and saying, okay, here's all the options that are out there. What works with their rules? What are they comfortable with? What are they not? What are they willing to support as far as TIF and TID districts? Those kind of things. So it's not that we are trying to do this without the city's involvement. We just really need to have an idea of where things are at, understanding that at some point in time, we are going to have to work with the city. We just don't know what to do.
And you're relaying that to the city.
I have,
Okay.
yes, I have.
It's not like we're trying to shut them out. We just don't really know yet what to do.
Right. And quite frankly, I don't have time to sit down and have meetings about what if. I don't
Yeah.
have time to sit down and say, what if we do this? What if we do that? I just don't. And so the plan really is, once we get to that point where we start to get that stuff in and we have actual something tangible in our hands, then we can start really having those discussions.
There's another factor too that we're gonna run into in April and May. And that's that they're gonna have major changes in the administration of the city
Yes.
and the council and the mayor's office. And
Yep.
It's not gonna get better.
Right.
Mr. Carroll.
Well, that's two.
Yeah.
So right now, where does it look like for when SH might be ready for us to have that discussion?
I am guessing, and Brian, you can jump in. You know, we started this on July 22nd. We were told at that point in time, it's going to be at least a 9-month process. We had a little bit of a delay with the market analysis. I think that got to us about a month late due to the government shutdown and trying to get some of that census data from the government. So I'm thinking come April and May, we're going to start receiving RFPs, or at least be putting them out. Does that seem about right, Brian?
Yeah, I think that tracks with the timeline that we're on.
Meaning RFPs, would then be sent out to developers? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And then at that point, the city is part of the mix with their idea or their.
If they turn in an RFP, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and that was what we said from day one, is once we establish the process, that process will be for everyone. Yes, I do want to go back. When is the survey deadline?
We haven't really, we talked about maybe towards the end of next week. But we haven't really put a hard deadline out there quite yet.
If we get that, maybe send that in an email so then we can shake the butchers. You know, if we've got 150 already, but I know there's people I can talk to, but most people don't do anything until they know what the deadline is.
That's true.
So, you give them a deadline Wednesday and then actually the cutoff will be Friday. So, stuff like that. Yeah, thank you. Anything else?
Yeah.
for you?
Yep, so back to the project, ultimately our goal is to put together a plan that gives us the highest and best use of the property. We all know that housing is a demand for this community. In the end, we might disagree on how to get there, but in the end, we have the same goal, that we really want to develop that. I had reported to you guys last month that we had a meeting scheduled with NHS to go to the campus. They did have to cancel that, so we are working on getting that rescheduled. I also reached back out to Habitat for Humanity because there are items in the building that they want. So we will be working on getting some dates and times scheduled for that. The school district and I met with the surveyor last week, so we're going to work on starting to survey off the property. Josh is working on getting the utilities separated and getting the property ready to be passed off onto the school district when that time comes. And then the remodel of the community service building is in process, and our goal is still to move extension at the end of this month or the beginning of March.
Questions? Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
I want to make sure I understand the RFP process. SEH is going to develop an RFP that they think identifies the path we want to go. So, but we will get a chance to review the RFP and understand it before it actually goes out to developers, or How's that gonna work?
I guess hadn't really thought that far into it. My thought is they would develop the RFP, maybe take a quick peek at it, but they are the experts in developing the RFP, so we can certainly have this committee look at it if that is what we want, but we have to also remember they're the ones that are specialized in creating.
Understood, I still feel like I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I would think they don't want to get too specific with that RFP either. They want to keep it kind of a general so that you attract more interest.
Brian, do you want to answer to that, some of these things?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think, you know, as we start to scope out, I think it also could end up being a couple of different RFPs for different opportunities that might exist on the property. And so again, and I know we'll get to the conversation about the Wallace Center and Copper Top Theater later, but I mean, that, in my opinion, if that building stays and it's going to end up being, we would do a separate RFP for the potential reuse of that building. And then we might do a separate RFP for, you know, housing development. And then we might do a separate for commercial development. And then, you know, a developer would be free to respond to any or all of those. Or if, you know, there might be a developer that would say, you know, I'd love to just take it all on and do a mixed use development that reuses that building and adds some more commercial space and some residential development, and they could, you know, respond to the whole thing. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, at least as far as how that would go out. But yeah, I think we would want to kind of, you know, get your input on, you know, on that process. And yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. But does that make sense?
Yeah, just for us to have a chance to make sure the RFP and how it's worded still aligns with where we think we're headed. Yeah.
Anybody else with questions? You have more, Trish? No? David or Mr. Frank? I think David's on, or is.
No questions.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. All right, let's go to item 8, which is a discussion on the UW redevelopment grant application.
So our grant was approved by underwriting. We are just waiting to get a copy of the draft contract, so that we could review it, and if all looks good, sign off on it.
Sounds good. Questions in regards to the grant from anyone?
Just amazing how it drags out.
You are in state and on the government.
Still amazing.
Item. Yeah. All right, next item. Item 9, discussion and possible actions. Request for proposal for demolition of campus buildings.
So this item is twofold. When we originally put the agenda together, it was to have Josh give an update on the demolition process. But then we also have to add, and we added Randy here and some discussion more about the copper top, because we've been having some issues. So if Josh wants to start with where things are at with, or have Randy start with what's going on with the copper top, and then we'll have Josh give an update on where things are at.
Yeah, might be. Okay, so I'll update with the copper top. So you guys remember last year, April or March, I think maybe it was February, March, we had the heating system go down, that pump system go down. It was $10,000 to $15,000 to replace that pump for that heating system. That covered half of the building. We did not replace it per the committees because they did not want to spend that money to do that. So the building has been running on half a heating system. We had the 40-degree weather below zero last, or 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. We came in one morning and we had a lake in the cafeteria. The water had been running, pipes had broke in the kitchen, and it ran all night long. So all the pipes on the sink side of the wall, which is an outside wall, everything was broke, everything had been spraying all night. We've been running water all night long. We squeegeed that all out. We cut off pipes, capped them all off because everything was broke. Everything that we found that was spraying, took care of that day, cleaned the water, squeegeed all the water out of the building to the drains. Come in, not the next day, but the day after that, more pipes broke because it couldn't maintain enough heat in that building. And because we had the thermostats at 50, you're only running half the thermostats for that building or half the heat for that building. And you're at 40, 30 below, 20 below, and you can't maintain. And that's a big space to heat. So this went on for the last week and a half now. We've had broken pipes like every day or every other day. This has been an ongoing thing. We've been fighting it every single day we go in there. It seems like there's water somewhere. We've capped off pipes, shut off heating systems or radiator systems because they're breaking. So now we're to the point where I just got a notice from the city water today. Last month, we used 100,000 gallons of water went through that building. We are on the verge of 230,000 for this month if we continue with that water on. So we're averaging 9,000 gallons a day. So after getting this from the city today, utilities, we went in, we shut the main off because when I went in today, he said, open up the meter. He says, read if you're still moving water somewhere. So I opened up the meter. The meter is still running and the water is off everywhere. We have no water in the building moving that we can find, but the meter is still turning. We're losing 2.8 gallons a minute somewhere. So I took it upon myself to shut the main off and shut feeding to our building. We have no idea where this water is going, where it's not showing itself. We've got everything capped off everywhere we can. But again, every time we turn the water on, a pipe breaks somewhere else. So this has been 2 weeks of this, of cleaning up water and pipes breaking and capping. And so we've got a definite issue out there. This heating system cannot keep up with half a heating system. We're only running one air handler, which we had to put a $600 motor on the other day because the motor was shot. It had been running so much. They can't maintain it. So, what's that? Yeah, well, just because the temperature's going up outside right now, we're up to 55, 56 degrees in the building. But anything that's on an outside wall, still struggling. So, I guess I don't know where you want to go with this, but I had to shut the main off because at 9,000 gallons a day, where's this water going?
So the meter stopped moving when you shut the main.
Yes,
Wherever the leak was, it was after the main.
it's after our. So the main, you got the main here, you got the water meter, and then you got our main shut off for the building. So I had the main on, and ours on. It was 2.8 gallons a minute. It was showing that it was running 2.8 gallons a minute somewhere. I shut ours off, and then of course, then I went down to like, I think it was 0.8 gallons a minute. So we have a leakage in our valve also. So it's getting past ours. So then I had to shut the main off coming into the building because otherwise it's just going to keep running water and we're just going to keep paying.
I guess I'm trying to understand how much of that water needed to be on in the first place.
Well, so we have to maintain water in the boiler, in the system. It's a closed system, but there's possibly even a leak in that system somewhere that we're not.
You got a makeup line.
Right, there's a makeup line, right, correct.
That's the
So,
only water you really need.
yes, but the problem is there's no shut-offs.
There's not enough shut off.
There's not enough shut-offs. So I had precision there twice last week, and we were up in the ceilings above the kitchen and stuff. There are no shut-offs from the main all the way down to the kitchen into the wall where it stubs out of the wall. The only shut-offs are right at floor level. Okay, those were all broken. Those had all frozen because they were all on the outside wall. So now we had to cut them all off, cap them, to stop the water from flowing. But like I said, every time we turn the water back on, then every day we have another break somewhere else. So,
So that main is just for that building?
Yeah.
Water building?
yes.
So if we left the main shut, drain all those lines this summer.
Well, and I don't know how you're gonna drain them. I mean, other than cut the caps back off and so, I mean,
Because
all,
what I'm getting at is if we decided not to demo it, just drain it and let it be until we decide what we want to do, you'd basically be winterizing.
well, you're not winterizing because it's way past winterizing. These just, everything is full of rust. I'm not kidding you. The toilets, the sinks, anything that has water running to it is shot. It's never gonna start back up again. It's been 2 years. And when you,
My point is not so much, maybe winterize is not the right word. My point is that if we shut off the main, we just don't want any more water in there.
correct, that's the only way you're gonna stop it.
Right.
But you're gonna shut the boiler down then too. Because
Yeah.
boiler's gotta be shut down and drained and,
Yep.
and done too, because
You're gonna winterize or you're gonna abandon.
you're gonna abandon everything basically.
Abandon everything.
Right.
So-
Air compressors start blowing.
To me, just my opinion, because I've been in that building 100,000 times, we've taken everything of value out of those buildings already. There is nothing in there that is gonna hurt to be in cold storage. Most everything has been taken out of any value, the pianos, any equipment, any furniture, all that stuff is gone now. There's nothing there that I feel is, 80 to 85% of it's gone. So going into cold storage is not really probably a bad thing at this point, because otherwise we're just gonna be throwing money in the garbage every day.
Well, yeah, and the money that will be spent on them water bills could have went towards winterizing and
But now with the increased water damage, now you're looking at mold problems. A lot of the walls in there actually are made out of steel stud
Ceiling.
systems, so now you're dealing with rust and structural.
Some of the the ceiling tiles have caved in because of all the moisture, and they've already sucked them down, and so we've lost some ceiling in there too in a couple places. So that's how bad it is right now.
You mean that's leaks in the second?
No, it's from the moisture.
Oh,
It's from the moisture. It's pulled everything down. It just made it so soggy. It was like it was a sauna in there the other day. So it was that bad. So
with that much water moving or out, just coming out.
yeah.
Yeah, we lost, at work, we lost a building that, we didn't lose it, but I mean, it was too steel on it, rusted from the inside out. It would bring semi-trailers in full of snow, or not completely full, but that moisture had to go somewhere as we thought.
Right.
And it went to the coldest area, which was the outside wall steel, and it just rusted and we replaced all the outside steel on that building. And that, yeah,
So any of the water damage I'm gonna just tell you right now, any of the water damage is from the doors from the theater towards the Melville or east or west. Everything from the theater doors is west. There is nothing in the theater area that has water over there. So there's no damage to any of that side of the building. It's everything west from there, in the student center, the cafeteria, kitchen. So
So what would it take to go ahead and finish draining the boiler and everything?
just a matter of shutting it down and turning the drain on and draining it down and
there's drains up there.
shut the electrical off to everything just to make sure.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's a simple fix there, but turn the pumps all off and drain them out.
So would this have to go public works in order to, I wouldn't say no, but, I mean, it's already shut off.
Well, I have to shut it off now, otherwise.
Oh, yeah,
this-
no, we're not.
I'm sure you don't want another 9,000 gallons a day for the next month, till our next meeting, or the next 2 weeks for our next meeting.
No, but we don't want anything else to freeze. So
Right.
draining everything that's in there would be.
Anything that I could find that
Yeah.
I can drain down.
Yeah.
Because I do have some heating units in the bathrooms. There's a couple of them that are still salvageable, I think. They can be drained out. I think I can pull some drains or split some pipes on those to get the water out of them.
Is there a drain in that, like the eating area, I'll call it? In the
No,
floor itself?
no.
Where did you have to push that?
We squeegeed everything
To the
From
kitchen.
the east side of the building, everything all the way to from the west side of the building, because their floor is not level. It all ran to one side. We had to move everything all the way across the building to be down that hallway into where the main comes in,
Yeah,
into the backside of the kitchen.
yep.
So we had to push
East side of
water.
it, east side of the
Four of
kitchen.
us sitting there with squeegees pushing water for hours. So this happened 4 or 5 times now.
I think the question that I have is, do we then demo this building while we're demoing all the rest? And that's why I asked Brian to be on to hear what was going on and for him to kind of give some input on his thoughts.
Well, I just feel like there's no rush to demo it. Right? If you get all the water out of it, roof's still in good shape. We don't know what might happen when all this developer stuff happens. I mean, it may end up we do demo it, but if there's no rush, let's hold off on it. That's where I'm at.
I guess I just don't see a developer coming in there. And if this was ready to go, everything's fine, I can see maybe there'd be some interest in it, but if a developer's gonna have to take it, put $100,000 in it. Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Well, we don't know, it could be. I kind of agree with Steve, but it won't cost us anything to leave it sit, other than the fact that we will not have that I'm guessing that's where Trish is trying to go. I would hate to guess what I mean, we can get a cost on it, so we know, but that we won't have that 2 million. We'll have it spent by the time, if we wait.
Well, it's gonna get spent either way.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't hurt to put that out on bids. To get demolished, just to see what the price is gonna be.
Well, and I think Josh will speak on that probably a little bit, but, when the people are there looking at the other 3 buildings, they can give us.
Yeah.
When we want a true quote on these 3.
Yeah.
We want a side quote or whatever you want to call it, Josh can.
I'll explain all.
Yep, so. Any other questions on that? How do you think,
The shame of it, that he just described the theater as being intact and fine. And that's the most desirable part of that building anyway, to me. And, if you demo the one side, you can't leave the other. Not gonna work, so.
Not the way the roof system is set up.
So,
And let's not forget, it's sitting on the most valuable piece of ground that's in the entire project.
got a point there. The other thing is, if it goes very long without being heated, you know what that does.
It's already.
Yeah.
I think the damage is probably pretty much
Done.
already done.
Yeah.
On that half, yes.
Well, if you go and start to rehab that building, it's gonna cost us.
and that's kind of for the developer, in my opinion, that's what the RFP for the developer.
Yeah.
Joe Blow may buy it and then tear it down, but if we would have to state that, if we're truly, that's what we want, to see that. I mean, that's down the road here. Hopefully within the next 4 or 5 months.
But you think the damage is all done now with the main shut off?
With the main shut off, at least we won't have any water
Yeah.
flowing other than, until I can get the
There's still
boiler
pipes.
drained. There's still pipes that are
Yeah.
still full of water that if it freezes.
Yeah.
Maybe tonight, we'll find another one tomorrow morning. I don't know. Seems like every morning we've been finding one.
Randy, Bob or David, comments, questions?
I think it makes sense to find out
That
how
is-
much it would cost to demo. Not that we're going to go ahead and do that right at the moment, but if the damage is as extensive as, okay, so it warms up, we don't have frozen pipes anymore. Now we got all kinds of moisture in there. We're going to have other issues. It may not even be safe to go in the building if there's, a lot of mold or something like that. So I think it behooves us to find out what numbers we'd be looking at if demo was the option.
Yeah, I'll speak to that.
Yep. Bob, comment?
Is this something SDH would come back and look at once it warms up to give us another opinion or have someone do that?
Brian, you wanna go ahead? I mean, my thoughts are, I'm done putting money in that. Me, myself, as a county taxpayer, but I thought that, it's like, all right, we're gonna hire somebody to go in and assess the mold damage in the middle of the summer. Anyway.
Yeah, I can just speak to it a little bit. I think, the scope of the work that SEH has done is really more about market feasibility. Vantage did the building assessments. Certainly something we're capable of doing with our engineers and architects at SEH, but that's not really wasn't part of the scope of the work that we've done on this project. Our opinion on just that it would be worth going out to RFP to see if there was somebody that would be interested in reusing that facility was really more market based than building condition based. We certainly reviewed the building condition report from Vantage. This is all new, even the the condition of the boiler and the now all of the potential pipe breakages and potential water damage and everything that comes with that, as you're talking about, obviously changes that outlook. But our opinion was really just more that was kind of the building that seemed like there was opportunity there, and it wouldn't hurt to just put it out and see if somebody would be interested in reusing that. There's building amenities, the kitchen, the theater space, just the open space of the cafeteria type space lends itself to a restaurant or an event venue or various uses that could be an attraction to the property and could be an amenity that adds value to the rest of the development was really kind of our contention. But again, I think a lot of that has changed, and that your conversation today is really all about that. So I would still say if you want to wait and maybe assess things, there could be viable use, but the extent of the damage is really throws a big question mark on that for sure. But yeah, it's hard to know.
Yep. Thanks, Brian. That's really not, could be your scope in the future if we were to ask you to do it. Yeah. Any other comments in regards to that? For now, I'd say we leave it as is. And Randy, if you want, we've got several large air compressors. If John doesn't have one, that diesel powered, that we got adapters, you can start blowing mine, but where are you gonna blow them? But I mean, we can talk later. But, yeah. Anybody else online with questions? David or Bob? Comments? Okay. Trish, you're good for now on that? Now we'll go to Josh.
Okay, as everyone knows, Trish has asked me to take the lead of the demolition project of the campus buildings in question. I agreed to it as long as she was with me every step of the way to make sure things are getting done. We're both on the same page. So with that, the first thing I did was get a consultant on board to help manage that. So a large undertaking of project. Of course, there's going to be RFPs to develop. There's going to be contractors to work with. There's going to be DNR permitting, city permitting, everything to go through. So it's proper that we have a consultant on board. I selected SEH to work with on this matter because they're already working on the market value and the developer side of it. So it's all underneath one large umbrella, of course, separate departments. Where I'm starting is with local contractors on the plumbing side and the city. Yesterday, I visited the city, gave them proper notification that I would be heading up the demolition for the county. And I sat down and met with Scott. He is going to be sitting down with our selected contractors to make sure that we're shutting the utilities down in proper order that will align with the city's wishes. We have a meeting with the electrical company tomorrow and Scott to look at everything on the big screen of how we need to shut down those buildings. From there, we're bringing in an asbestos abatement team. They're going to be coming in, going through each building, pull anything that for a sample to see how much asbestos there is to deal with first. So we did an initial walkthrough yesterday, and I can personally vouch for the condition that the copper top heater is in. Next week, that's when they will be on site to start ripping into some of these buildings to grab their asbestos samples. Because of the current condition of the copper top, originally we were going to leave that building alone. We weren't going to go in there, but due to the amount of extensive damage that's already in there, I have added that to the contract for the asbestos abatement and possible removal from there if we ever get to the point of demoing that building. Now, on the demolition side of the building, what we decided to do, the best route of action was to get a separate bid for each individual building. So we can isolate our costs per building. That would include copper top if we so choose to go that route. However, we will do it as a bulk deal for a contractor to come in. So we're not dealing with multiple different contractors demoing different buildings for different prices. It'll be tracking our costs per building, but one contractor doing the demolition. And of course, this is gonna take some time to accomplish because there's a lot of hoops to jump through. We're still in the middle of winter months here. So at the bare minimum, I'm anticipating a 7-month plus window, probably closer to 8. By the time we get in there, do everything we need to do with utilities, asbestos, demo, turn it back to dirt, if you will. We will remove the buildings from their entirety. There will be no footings left behind. There will be nothing left behind besides dirt at this point. We want to make it as best suited for whatever developer comes in as possible. So when they start to develop, they're not running into old foundations. We want to make sure we're utilizing this grant to the best of our capability. The forewarning is, yes, if you add the copper top, that's going to raise up the prices quite significantly because of the size of that building compared to the other ones. But we will put prices together for each individual building, including the copper top, and report back with what the demo prices are going to be. Any questions?
Mr. Carroll.
The way you inquire it, you might want to make it clear that the copper top's more of an add-on than part of the total package. Because if someone's trying to distribute their costs across all buildings and the copper top, that may not come with the same price as just the others.
So that has already been done. Copper top is identified differently in just the asbestos side of it. It'll be identified as an add-on when we get to the RFPs or the demolition, so the county chooses. Everything will be isolated out on its own so we can track the cost separately. And the copper top is not included in the package demo unless the county wants it.
Okay. Have you guys or has SH figured out where the utilities are going to terminate?
So that's the meetings that we're having with Scott. We have everything on the big screen. I've already shared the zip file of all utilities with the plumbers. And then we're sitting down with the electrical company tomorrow to look at all the existing utilities and where the best routes is to shut everything off to make sure that we're isolating Melville Hall and the gymnasium on their own separate thing and making sure that Simon's is on its own separate thing. So basically it's shutting everything down. Even if we have to look at the copper top, it'll be shutting everything off on that side and just leaving Melville, the gymnasium, and Simon's over on themselves. Everything else will be gone.
I guess what I'm getting at is I had heard that the utilities, the way they were branched, was kind of weird. And I didn't know if we might actually have to add some new stuff to keep the other buildings functional.
That's to be determined. We just have to look at what's existing and what the plumbers can do and what the city's recommending.
Okay.
Initial conversations, it looks like we might be able to work with what's just there. If the city dictates differently on that, then we'll have to look, see what we can do.
Okay.
Questions or comments towards the elder?
I just want to be clear that I'm doing this underneath the umbrella of highway, so all the contracts, so on and so forth, as dictated by the county board, I'm signing off on them. Trish is being made aware of them, reviewing them with me. End of the day, I'm signing off on them on her behalf. So there's no question, and this is to make sure we're getting along in a speedy process to accomplish our goal here.
David or Bob?
I'm good, thank you.
Good here too.
Okay, Mr. Carroll.
Openings then?
So when the RFPs are done, just like on bridge projects and similar to highway projects, so SEH will develop the RFP, right? We'll review it, good to go. We like the RFP. They will send it out and then they will do a meeting invite. Usually a lot of times they're going to be virtual and they're going to open up the bids, review the bids, and then they'll review them. And then they won't select one generally in that meeting. they'll go back and check on their credentials after that to make sure they're reputable companies. We actually, side note, we actually ran into this on that bridge for the campus. There was the lowest bidder was an extremely unqualified bidder to even be in that. We had to eliminate them out of that ranking. So we open the bids, we see the dollar values, great. That closes it for the time being. We go back, do our research and select the best one.
So you're not doing a pre-qualification on them then?
The pre-qualifications are done after we open up the bids to see how they qualify, to see if they're reputable companies.
It's not a pre-qualification. It's confirming their ability. It gets you to the same place. It's just different.
We used to pre-qualify bidders on a lot of city projects, utility projects.
Yeah.
And got to the point where you almost had to do that because some of the contractors had such terrible reputations. You didn't really want to bidding.
That's what I described as a general process we do with highway projects and these type of projects. So it'll get you the same end game, but.
Yeah. Good. We're good in here for now? You're good, Josh? All right, let's move on to item 10, discussion of possible action on setting future meeting dates.
March 4th at 4 p.m. 4-4. 3-4-4.
4:30.
4.
Calendar. I got a Southwest Tech Board meeting, March 4th, next meeting, 3-4-4. 3-4-4. All right, correspondence, Mr. Cayley.
Under report, Mr.
Agenda items, future agenda items.
Touch back with the.
Yeah, I think we'll just have updates on pretty much everything a lot of the things we talked about tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give constant updates all the way through.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little time to get started, especially with the contractors, because they have to review the zip files. There's a mountain of information there. They want to make sure they're doing it right. So it could be several weeks before we really put boots on the ground to do anything with utilities and electrical.
Would the SEH do the bid walks or would you do them or both?
Could you repeat yourself, please?
A bid walk, is that something SEH would direct or?
Yes, a big walk,
So like
bid walk?
for people to come and look at the site before they make a bid.
Oh, SEH will generally handle that. If they can't be available, they'll reach out to me and I'll go out there with them.
Site visits or whatever. Yeah.
It's similar to what I did yesterday with the asbestos people. They just wanted to get their eyes on it before they came out to do the work.
And
just use the term
again,
bid
part
walk.
of the bid is everything's transported out of there. There's nothing left.
Whatever is left at the time, whatever the county doesn't take out of the buildings, generally speaking, because we haven't reached this point, it generally becomes, property, thank you. Sorry about that, property of the contractor. So whatever we leave in the buildings, we don't have to go clear everything out. Whatever's left is left and the contractors can do whatever they want with it at that point.
Okay. So if you think of any other agenda items, let, the administrator, Mr. Turk, somebody know, we'll get them on. All right, next item of business is looking for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Rod Perry, seconded by Mr. Steve Carroll. All those in favor of adjourning till March 4th, 4 p.m., signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed to adjourning? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Stay